The design standard has 3 specific criteria: 16 to accommodate learner differences, 17 to align to content area standards, and 18 to design digital learning environments. I'm going to focus on criteria 16, accommodating learner differences, because as educators, we need to design learning activities that address the different needs of our students. And to do so, I'm going to demonstrate how we can use dictate. Now, when you hit the dictate button, you'll see that there is a little box at the bottom with a microphone, and it allows you to articulate your thoughts. I'm going to pause the dictate for a moment, but I think you can see the benefits of this for students who are frightened of a blank page, who are able to articulate their thoughts but unable to write them, for students with dyspraxia and dyslexia, who as soon as they see words on the page feel fearful. And obviously, you can see there's issues with that because I need to stop. Okay. So having stopped that, I'm going to go back. You can see here that I have text, which is not bad. It's taken nearly everything that I've said. But if I go to the settings button, I can also enable auto punctuation. And I can equally have other forms of language. So this could be used across students who are learning English as a second language, or who are learning a language to supplement or to support their breadth as global citizens. I'm going to save that. Obviously, I can have a look at this, but before I do, imagine that I am that student who is unable to put the words on a page. If I go to View and to Immersive Reader, I am then able to have a look at what this might look like. I can adjust the voice settings and set the play button. So let's hear what it sounds like.
When you hit the dictate button, you'll see that there is a little box at the bottom with a microphone, and it allows you to articulate your thoughts on...
Okay, so you can see it reads it back to me. I grant you it reads it back to me in an American accent, but that's okay. I can also change the text size. So for students who struggle, who need larger font, sometimes younger students, you can accommodate. You can choose different particular texts, fonts. But for students, for example, who need a greater contrast, we're able then to maybe have black on yellow. Again, arguably, there is a way that we can attempt to solve the issues that our students have. And sometimes using that bright contrast is effective. It's also very handy for students who are colorblind, and that can be helpful. It gives you a whole range of colors, and it can show source formatting. Now, I'm going to stick with the yellow, and I'm going to show you something else. When students are doing an activity that may require an understanding of rhythm, or they're learning to spell, being able to see the syllables spelt out can actually help students identify, in poetry, the feet of a poem, in spelling, the way that a word is made in chunks, and hopefully, helpfully, sounding out through phonetics, and using Immersive Reader allows that. It also allows students to identify the nouns. So students who really struggle with grammar can have a tool where they can identify whether the words are nouns or not, and then check them. So building student agency is really helpful. I can put the labels in, and they can see what words are nouns, what words are verbs, what words are adjectives and adverbs. And I can also have a line focus. So by bringing it down, it means that we're diminishing the cognitive load. It allows students to read line by line the words that they have written. And obviously, by doing this, they can hear where there are errors. It also has a dictionary, a picture dictionary. Because as we said before, when we are looking at designing activities, we want to focus on multimodal content delivery using the technology so that students can personalize their experience. We have the principle, the Universal Design of Learning principle of representation, and the perception, being able to interact with flexible content that doesn't depend on single sense like sight, hearing, movement, or touch, that offers ways of customizing the display of that information, offering alternatives to auditory information so that students can see what they've actually said or written and then go back and edit. And it also offers alternatives for visual information. So we're getting a good range of things happening using tools such as Immersive Reader. It also does help students when it comes to processing the information and visualization. Let us have another look here. We can, as I said, translate it to a different language. So if it was English and you have a Chinese student, you might choose Chinese as a language that they will then hear it in. Obviously, it really does depend on what you're looking for. But this is really important, the reading coach. So I'm going to turn reading coach on. What this does is allow for me, as the student who has read the work, to now read my own thoughts. I'm going to give access and I'm going to read aloud. And the good thing with reading coach is it does give feedback and practice steps. Your thoughts. I'm going to pause the dictate for a moment, but I think you can see the benefits of this for students who are frightened of a blank page, who are able to articulate their thoughts but unable to write them. For students with dyspraxia and dyslexia, who as soon as they see words on the page, fear, and feel fearful. And it shows us their reading report, their accuracy, the time spent, the correct words per minute, and then it identifies words for them to practice. So let's have a look at those. So words that
These words were the most challenging for you. Select any word to tackle them again. When you're ready, press the microphone and read the word out loud.
Students can hear the word.
Dyslexia.
They can see what a picture looks like. Well, there isn't one for dyslexia, sadly. But then when I say dyslexia,
you're making your brain stronger. Nice work.
So, having managed to use the tools, I can then go back and show my students that they have agency over their work. Now, naturally, students have now got the capacity to look at their piece of text. They've heard themselves read it. They have looked at what the words look like. But they've actually been able to contribute and demonstrate learning that they would not have been able to do had it just been a case of them sitting and writing on a blank page. Let me just take out the words that in my editing that I would otherwise. I don't need those because that was me carrying on. But now I have a situation where my students are in a better position to show their learning, and I need to design This for both teachers, coaches, and administrators who need to consider the learning needs of their teachers, because not all teachers are as adept with writing error-free, for example. So that is my demonstration of just some of the accessibility tools. It directly showcases how I can design learning using technology to access content in a number of ways that fit the individual need of the student. They include pictures, audio, they can include video. And the good thing is, by using tools such as Screencaster, students can then go back and revisit work, to revisit instructions as many times as they need, again, giving them agency. The graphics that support language learning to clarify vocabulary are also really helpful here.